So how about we go do this? Let's just go do a scan on Finviz and just see if I can track down a cool stock that looks fun that maybe we can trade together. So we're going to do price 20 to 50. Let's do IPO date. Let's do IPO date in the last 5 years. So we're getting a lot of stocks. Optionable. We definitely want it optionable. That's going to take a lot away. Okay. All right, Thomas, I'm going to let you pick one of these filters. What filter should I place next? Just tracking down a rando stock that we can analyze, look at, or maybe even set up for a trade. Who knows?
Let's see. Let's go with relative volume.
All right. What do you want that to say?
Relative volume over 1.5.
All right. So the volume is increasing pretty recently, and we got 26. So really any other ticker that we come up with is going to start. And I think we already found one. I'm just going to scroll through here. Oh, wow. These are some good moves. Thanks, Wong. Our boy Thomas can do no wrong, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to go through these tickers just by hovering over Finviz and just kind of looking at what looks interesting. AKRO is the first I'm going to go check out. And I'll show you precisely how I analyze everything. And again, same way as before, same way as everything else. I'm going to go to a monthly chart. We're going to draw our resistance line. We're going to draw our support line. I'm going to draw another internal line in here. And then I'm going to go to the weekly. All right, go to the daily. And this is a really, really interesting gap fill. Strong gap down that is slowly climbing up. AKRO Therapeutics. This looks like a double top to me, right? This looks like the neckline. And this was a gap and go that has not goed. It's actually gone essentially just straight up. So I would probably look to short this trade. And I'd probably do so in tranches. I would short it at the gap fill here. And then I would short it here. And that would be half an hour and half an hour. And I would place my stop loss above the all-time high. Now, you're going to ask yourself, is that going counter trend? It is. I mean, the overall trend's bullish for sure. But you have two warning signals: bear gap and go at the all-time high and a double top that close below the neckline. So there are some signals that this could be rolling over. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to go lower, but that could be a potential possibility for you. Also, the gap down was not on earnings, which makes it even more interesting to me. Then, if that's the situation, what could also happen on this trade is roll down, roll up, bounce, and then you go long off the 100, off of 33, and then start to trade this channel. That's also a possibility. So what I'm going to do is put this on the Monday watch list for next week for me. And I'll post this chart in the chat pane. So if anybody comes back to it and wants to kind of just analyze it, they can. There we go. Beautiful. Let's go back to the stock screener and see what else we can find. Amalgamated. I like that word. AMAL. Amalgamated. It's a little thin on volume. Just a little. But type in a 7 if you can see the 10 EMA setup. That's all we're looking for. We've been looking at these stupid setups now for going on 9 hours. You start seeing enough of them, you're going to start understanding how to trade these things. That would have been how I would have shorted it if I could have. Probably would not have been able to. All good. So no trade there. AMTB Bank Corp. AMTB. Now this looks interesting. Amerit Bank Corp. One white soldier. Good gap. Good volume. Bear candle. Inside. Didn't close above the 10. Got pretty close. Let's go look at the weekly chart. The reason I'm looking at the weekly chart again, just to see the overall data. Oh, wow. That's not bad. So on the weekly, this is chilling right on top of the 100. It's kind of good to know. We do have a little bit of a downtrend here to kind of contend with. So that should just be aware. We should be aware of that. Monthly moving averages. Again, this is really the process that I go through when I'm looking for stocks for the very first time. So monthly, I mean, really just kind of looks like we're pulling back into the 20 that maybe it bounces. So going back to the daily chart, we're obviously going to be below the moving average on the daily chart. I wonder about the long terms. Okay. The long terms are right in front of our face. That makes me like the trade a little bit less. What I could do, and I don't plan on doing this, I need to look at my schedule more tomorrow, but I think I'll be available. But what I could do is if hypothetically AMTB opens tomorrow above this high here, if that happens, that could be a really good day trade, right? And you could take it from 2771 to 2825. I mean, 40 cents. It's not bad. Trade into the support over here, 2873. Again, it's not a terrible trade. It's just not an amazing one. BLCN, CERE Next Gen Economy. Go into a weekly. Wow. So this is one I would need to do a bit of research on because it looks like it's about to come back down to its COVID lows and its pre-IPO lows. Type in 2 if you can see that. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to bounce. What's intriguing to me is I would just be wondering, would it bounce? Is this a good spot to get in? Is this a good spot to consider getting in? Down here at $18 or $19, right? Maybe. You have a nice little bear flag here. You have a really, really interesting topping pattern up there. Obviously, the trend just crushed. Trickle down lower. Coming into the daily chart. And looking at the daily chart, it looks like we are just barely hanging on by dear life to this support. And this could be a spot where it would bounce, but really the overall trend is bearish. So my assumption and my plan for this would be let it go lower, trade into this resistance, short it, and then just stick with the trend down into 1871. Yeah. And of course, it's at a support. So Carrie, what's the rule for a downtrending stock at a support for me to take a breakdown? Do you guys remember that rule we talked about? Victor says sideways. KP says need some sideways action. That's correct. Some compressure, which is a bonus word for compression and pressure added together. So that's what I would need for me to take the breakdown of this trade. I would just need some more coiling, some more sideways building up on BLCN. Okay, great. So again, just looking at other stock screeners, this is cool. CERE. These are stocks I've never even heard of. All right, let's go look at the weekly. Okay, so interesting. Bouncing off of the blue line. Emily, do you know anything about that line? Blue 100 simple moving average on a weekly chart. Buy off the blue line, ladies and gentlemen. Pharmaceutical company. Zooming in here to a daily chart. This is a really good gap, really good close, really good candle. It looks like this particular stock has been trading sideways for a bit, but it has obviously gone up before. To me, this looks like something like this is what I would plan for. Something like this is exactly what I would plan for. Let it trade up a little bit so you'd have one, because over here, that will be up 30% in 3 days. Let the newbies buy there, AKA me, about a decade ago. And then let it pull down. And then this is where you will look to buy off those long terms, off this gap area. I will put that on the list for Wednesday of next week, and we'll look at it. Victor says, would a bull put spread make sense down there? Yep. Yes, it would. Dustin says, do you not worry about the 50 EMA? On what time frame, brother? We're not down there on a weekly, monthly. 50, we're above it on all time frames. Daily, weekly, monthly. In general, do I worry about it? Of course. It's one of the moving averages that's on my screen all the time. It's the green one. Yep, it is part of my analysis. Absolutely. Very valid question. Oh, we're doing good, team. We're coming up in almost the last hour. We're coming up. The last hour for you. I'll have two more. Natasha says, do you pay attention when the 50 and the 200 make that cross? I do not. So there's a very popular term called the death cross or the death spiral or something like that. And when the 50 crosses the 200, everyone's like, oh, it's the death cross. By the time the 50 has already crossed the 200, that thing's already dropped a lot. And granted, yes, the trend is already bearish, but that's not when you get in. I have back traded the death cross, and it's one of the worst indicators of all time. If you short when the death crosses, and when you go long, when the golden crosses, so the golden cross is the 50 crossing the 200 from the bullish side. If you go short and long on both of those, you lose money over the last 30 years because you're doing it at the bottom of everything. So fun fact. Yeah, it's not a good one. Okay, let's keep scrolling through this list just to see if there's anything that looks interesting. I'm trying to see if there's anything that catches my eye. Oh, that's cool. EMBC. Some cool volume. Interesting looking candle. Wow. Look at how strong those buyers were. Check that out. So whoever bought down here before, boom, boom. Let's call those Robert Thompsons. Your boy Robert Thompson bought there again. It was a strong support and became a strong support. Really, really nice level down here. This is also a retest gap. So what I think is going to happen is you're probably going to get something like this, this, and this. So I would watch for EMBC to kind of make another poke down to some degree. Let it trade down to like this 26-ish area. And that could be a decent spot to buy. So again, this is real world analysis. This isn't back in the day. So you're always welcome to take notes of this because I'm looking at it. And it might work and it might not, but it looks pretty cool. Nothing there. Let's go to the last section. Oh, wow. I'm about to back trade that. Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay. I was like, what the heck is this? Tesla Bear ETF. That's funny. This thing just got created in August. Look how high it is. I can tell you for sure where the bottom is going to come in. If this becomes more valuable than the shares of Tesla, the bottom is in for that time period. Again, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just letting you know if it does, that's not good. If this number on the inverse ETF becomes more valuable than Tesla itself, that's the bottom of Tesla. Yeah. So if this becomes 108 and Tesla's at 107, go long. Time to flip. Again, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just letting you all know if randomly it does.